Back again with you, brothers and sisters, on this Sabbath day. And I hope you're having a good Sabbath day, by the way. This is your host, the Apostle Reuben of IUPR Bible Radio, podcasting out of Little Rock, Arkansas, to the true saints of the Most High God. Now, if you notice, brothers and sisters, I have Revelation 20:11 on the screen. Now, we're going to be talking about the Lamb's Book of Life. Now, it's been a year, or more, that I went over this subject, and I go over it a little bit different every time. But we're going to be talking about the Lamb's Book of Life. I want to start here in Revelation 11 and read down so we can get into this podcast episode. So let's begin. Revelation 20:11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. And another book was opened, which was the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books, according to their works. Now, this, hopefully, brothers and sisters, it's going to be easy enough to understand, but there are levels to what we are reading here. So let's start at the top again and read to a point, and then we're going to go to the scriptures to see what John is talking about. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. Now, whose books were these? Of course, we would know they're the books of the people. My book, your book, the books were open. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 13. I'm just reading this. Solomon writes, "Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man." So the conclusion of the whole matter is to fear God and keep the law, because that is what you were basically created for, the whole duty of man. But for God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good, or whether it be evil. Whether it be good or whether it be evil. Now, I want to go to the book of John. The book of John, chapter 5. Verse 28. Here's Christ. Christ says, "Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation." So you see, brothers and sisters, that it does not change. It's based off good and it's based off evil. It's based off good and it is based off evil. So now, what is good and what is evil? You have to know these things. What was good? The book of Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 17. "You shall diligently keep the commandments of the Lord your God, and his testimonies and his statutes, which he hath commanded thee. So it's talking about the law here. Let's drop down to verse 18. And thou shalt do that which is right and good in the sight of the Lord, that it may be well with thee, and that thou mayest go in and possess the good land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers. So to do good in the sight of God was to keep the law. I mean, that's easy, right? I mean, to do good in the sight of God was to keep the law. Really simple. Let's go back to Ecclesiastes 9. Ecclesiastes 9. I'm talking about good here. Ecclesiastes 9. And I want to start in verse 17. The words of a wise man, or the words of wise men, are heard in quiet, more than the cry of him that ruleth among fools. See, the words of wise men, law-keeping men, are heard in quiet more than a one that cries and ruleth among sinners. But I want you to pay attention. Verse 18. Wisdom is better than weapons of war, but one sinner destroyeth much good. Good. The sinner destroys the good. Notice, the sinner will destroy the good, because the good is in keeping the law. There's no other good besides law. That's why I'm moving through these rather quick. I don't want to make this long. Nehemiah. We got to see that which is good and that which is evil. Nehemiah 9, verse 13. And camest down also upon Mount Sinai, and spake it with them from heaven, talking about back in the time of Moses, and gave us them right judgments and true laws, good statutes and commandments. Psalms 119. Verse 66, real quick. Teach me good judgment and knowledge, for I have believed in thy commandments. See, brothers and sisters, as we read, we understand what is good. There's no changing it. Romans 7. Romans 7. Verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy, and just, and good. So the law is good. Whatever is good, it is in the keeping of the law. From Old to New Testament. What about evil? So let's take a look. What is evil? Back to Ecclesiastes 8, verse 11. Real quick. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, because God doesn't kill you, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Now, Solomon's going to keep on going. Though a sinner do evil 100 times. That's who's doing the evil, the sinner. So evil is sin. Brothers and sisters, you have to know these simple things. Evil is done by sinners. Though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged. Yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear God, that keep his commandments, which fear before him. So evil is committed by the sinner. Good, lawkeeper. Let's try it again. Proverbs. Proverbs 29. Real quick. And the transgression of an evil man, there is a snare, but the righteous does sing and rejoice. So, in the transgression of an evil man, the transgression. So we know real, or we can be sure that the transgressors of the law are those that have done evil. The keepers of the law are those that have done good. And again, brothers and sisters, this is one of the things this man, simple things, very simple things in the Bible that you have to know. He has found a way to push it to where no one's going to actually research the simplest of words like good and evil. You have to at least know what good and evil is. Who are the ones that do the good, the law keepers? Who are the ones that do the evil, sinners? So when we go back to Christ, John 5. John 5. Verse 29. And shall come forth they that have done good, kept the law, unto the resurrection of life. And they that have done evil, which is sin, because the sinner does the evil, unto the resurrection of damnation. So if you have kept the law, which is good, eternal life. If you have done evil, which a sinner does, we've proven it, unto the resurrection of damnation. So the law keeper is going to get life according to Christ, and the sinner is going to be burned up in the lake of fire. That's the damnation. Hot lava. So we don't have time to pray. We have no time to play with Christians and their way they see the Bible. So let's go back to Revelation 20. Revelation 20. Verse 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God. And the books were opened, and another book was opened, which is the book of life. There it is, the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books. Their books. See, the books are the works. You're going to be judged by your works, in which these books, because let me not talk. Matthew 18. Let me get this real quick, brothers and sisters. When you're doing the book of life, there is so much that people have to understand. Matthew 18 and 10. Matthew 18, verse 10. Christ writes this. Take heed that ye despise not one of these little ones. For I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. So every man has an angel set to him by the Father through the Son. Every man has his own recording angel that records his life. That's why 2 Corinthians Second Corinthians. 2 Corinthians 5. Verse 10. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad. Bad is another word for evil. See, it continues to say good and evil. It's based off them too, if you're done good or evil. And we could see, brothers and sisters, as we go forth, how this thing gonna turn out. If you have done good, which is in keeping the law, evil, which is sinning against the law. Only two ways. That's why, verse 11, knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men. The terror, knowing the terror of the Lord, knowing the terror of the Lord. We persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness, which is your mind. We're made manifest in your mind, brothers and sisters, letting you understand that the Lord is a man of terror. When you see this Christ, man, wants you to see. See, they don't want you to see this. See, if you see this, then you might just think. You might just start thinking if you see the real Christ. Let's go back up to the scriptures. I mean, the New Testament verse. Got to get used to it. Knowing therefore the terror of the Lord, we persuade men, but we are made manifest unto God, and I trust also are made manifest in your consciousness. This is what Paul is saying. We know what's going to happen. Let's go to Hebrews. Hebrews 6 and verse 10. I'm just letting you see, brothers and sisters, what's going on. For God is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which ye have showed toward his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. See this thing, one more verse. Let's get Revelation 14. Revelation chapter 14. Revelation 14, verse 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. So, brothers and sisters, this is based off works. Works, your works are recorded by an angel and kept for the great white throne of judgment. So now, let's go back to Revelation chapter 20. You're going to see real quick. You're going to see Revelation 20 and 12 once again. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. The books that were open were the works of the people. And another book was open. This is the important book, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books. The books is their books. They were judged by their works. That's it. You see, according to their works. So the judgment, again, was by the works, whether the works were good works or evil works. Whether it was law or whether it was sin. Now, let's get into this book of life. Let's go back to the book of Exodus. The book of Exodus, chapter 32, because I have a lot of verses to cover here. Exodus 32. Verse 32. We'll start in verse 31. I want you to pay attention. And Moses returned unto the Lord and said, "Oh, this people have sinned a great sin and have made them gods of gold." Now I want you to pay attention. Verse 32. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. Wait a minute. Blot me out of thy book that thou, not I have written, not Deuteronomy, let me do it right, not Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Those are the books Moses wrote through the inspiration of God. But Moses says, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. So God has a book. Want to bet what that book? But watch this though. And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. Again, brothers and sisters, what book is this? If I could ask the question. We know, but I just asked it. More importantly, brothers and sisters, we're going to read it again from verse 32. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. So God has a book. And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. So if you sin, you're blotted out of this book. Psalm 69. Real quick. This is the Psalm of David. Psalm 69. I want to see where I want to start. Because this is a long psalm, and I just wanted to get a point out of this. Now, David is talking about those that persecute him. I want you to read with me. I gotta get straight to the point. For they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those whom thou hast wounded. Add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. I want you to pay attention. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living and not be written with the righteous. Now, book of the living. You keep seeing, watch this. Verse 27, Psalm 69, 27. Add iniquity unto their iniquities. Iniquity is sin. Iniquity is sin. And let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living and not be written with the righteous. So the book of the living has the righteous in it. Here we go. Now, we're going to go back. I'm coming back to this verse, but I want you to see this. The book of Psalms, once again, Psalms 37. Psalms 37. Verse 30. The mouth of the righteous speaketh wisdom, and his tongue talketh of judgment. The law of God is in his heart, none of his steps shall slide. So, brothers and sisters, again, the righteous have the law of God in their hearts. They keep the law. The righteous keep the law. The righteous keep the law. Luke 1 and 6. We go back over these things to bring it. Luke 1, verse 6. Here's John the Baptist's parents. And they were both righteous before God, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of the Lord blameless. So whether it's Old Testament or New Testament, to be righteous was to keep the law. You were righteous when you kept law. So the righteous man is the law keeper. Back to Psalm 69. Psalm 69. Verse 27, David writes, add iniquity unto their iniquity. Those that have persecuted and has smitten and has taught grief unto their iniquity. Now, I have a feeling, brothers and sisters, that still I got to show you, because somebody these Christians, well, iniquity, they may say iniquity is because I had one guy say that iniquity was a way of life and it was this and that. No. See, brothers and sisters, when these pastors, when they go to the commentary of Esau, they're sure that whatever he writes, that's the right thing. And here is where our pastors make their mistake and lead our people who just want to be happy down the wrong path. This is how they do it. When you're going back and looking at scripture, pay attention. I acknowledge my sin unto thee, and mine iniquity have I not hid. I said, I will confess my transgressions unto the Lord, and thou forgavest the iniquity of my sin. Sin is iniquity. That's how the ones that tell the truth know, because they read it. Sin is iniquity. So when we go back to Psalms chapter 69, real quick. Psalm 69, 28. Well, I'll do 27, then 28. It says, add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. The righteous is the lawkeeper. But what we do know and understand from these two verses, let's read. I'm going to do this again. Exodus. And I want you to pay attention, brothers and sisters, because here's where it's going to get interesting. Exodus 32:32. Real quick. And then we're going to go back to Psalms. Exodus 32:32. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book, which thou hast written. And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. So, whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book. If you sin, hold up, because I want you to pay attention. 1 John 3. 1 John 3 and 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. So whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law. So whoever transgress my law, I blot out of my book. Whoever transgresses the law of God, the Messiah is going to blot him out of the book. If you sin against the Messiah, Christ, you're blotted out of the book of life. Sin, transgress. That's what we're reading. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is transgression of the law. Exodus again, 32. Exodus 32, real quick. Verse 33, and the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever hath sinned against me, transgressed my law, him will I blot out of my book. There you go. If you sin against the Father through the Son, you are blotted out of the book. Once again, Psalm 69. So I can go ahead on and move on. Verse 27 again. Add sin unto their sin, and let them not come into thy righteousness. He's talking about the wicked, the enemy. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living. This book is the same book mentioned in Exodus 32, 32, and 33. Notice, the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. You know why? Because the righteous are going to be written in the book of the living. The righteous, the lawkeeper, they're going to be in the book of life, and the sinner is going to be blotted out. See, brothers and sisters, this man right here has taken that and his so-called private meetings with the black pastor, and they've decided not to go into detail about the book of life because of that. Because Easter, Christmas, baby day, dog day, cat day, bird day, tree day, wall day, that's sin. See, brothers and sisters, this is a heavy plot going on out here. Well, back to the Bible. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living, and not be written with the righteous. The righteous are written in the book. It's telling you who's written in the book of life, those that keep the law. But those that transgress the law are going to be blotted out of that book. Now, brothers and sisters, let's look at something, because I want you to pay attention to me, what I'm about to go into. I want to get the book of Isaiah. Chapter 4 and verse 1. Here's a prophecy. And in that day 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Reproach is sin. I want you to pay attention. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Escaped of Israel now. Verse 3, Isaiah 4 and 3. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion and he that remaineth in Jerusalem shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. Once again, written among the living in Jerusalem. What this verse is saying, brothers and sisters, is only Israel is going to be in the book of life. Only Israel in this verse right here are going to be written in the book of life. Daniel 12. Daniel 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in a book. Well, I be dog. Here it is again, written in a book. We keep seeing from prophet to prophet a book. What book is it again? The Lamb's Book of Life. The prophets are mentioning the book. But again, at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. He said thy people. Who is Daniel's people? Who is Daniel's people? Daniel 9 and 20. And whilst I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God for the holy mountain of my God. Wait a minute. Daniel writes. And while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel. So Daniel's people is Israel. Daniel's people is Israel. So when you go back to chapter 12 and 1, and at that time Michael shall stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. Daniel's people was Israel. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time, thy people shall be delivered, saved. Everyone that shall be found written in a book. So again, in order to be saved, you have to be written in this book. Over and over, the Bible mentions the book. Let's go back. I want you to Ecclesiastes 12 and verse 13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. These verses were not written for just any reason. They were written specifically for special reasons that we need to pay attention to. So to fear God is to keep the commandments. Let's go to Malachi. Malachi, the prophet Malachi 3. Malachi 3, verse 15. We're going to read down to 16. Well, we'll go down further than that, maybe. And now we call the proud happy. Yea, they that work wickedness are set up. Yea, they that tempt God are even delivered. And you know what they're saying about that? They're ruled. They're ruled. Malachi is mentioning, hey, you know what? Those that sin right now, they're happy. Those that work wickedness are set up. Set up means set up in power. They that tempt God, sin against God, are even delivered. But watch what the next verse says. Then they that feared the Lord spake often one to another, and the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord. So a book of remembrance was written before him for them that feared the Lord, that kept the law. A book of remembrance was written before him that feared the Lord, that kept his commandments and thought, and that thought upon his name. So we keep seeing the book. This book of remembrance, God remembers you. This book of remembrance was written for them that feared the Lord, that kept the commandments. You continue to see this book all through the Bible, different prophets. And those that are in it are those that keep the law. Those that are going to be blotted out of it are those that sin. Second to that, we're seeing Israel in the book. Now, let's go here. Let's go here. Because it's necessary that we go back to the book of Daniel chapter 12 and 1. I want to do this for a reason. Daniel 12, verse 1. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. Daniel's people is Israel. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in a book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. This is the same thing Christ said in John 5:29. Daniel's saying it. Some are going to get everlasting life, and some to everlasting contempt. That's damnation. Damnation. Watch this. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that, pay attention, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now, and they that be wise. They that be wise. Well, who are the wise? Pay attention, brothers and sisters, to what we're going to read. The book of Proverbs, chapter 28. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 7. Whoso keepeth the law is a wise son, but he that is a companion of riotous men shameth his father. So the wise keep the law. Proverbs 10, verse 8. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. See, the wise are they that keep the law. So when we go back, and I'm going to pair it right up. I want you to pay attention. Pair it right up. Back to Daniel 12. Daniel 12, verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. All right. And they that be wise, they that keep the law, shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. And they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now, Daniel writes, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. Let's see who else said this. Let's get the book of Matthew. Matthew 13. Matthew 13, verse 41. Well, let's start in verse 40. As therefore the tares are gathered and burned in the fire, so shall it be in the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and them that sin. So everyone that is doing sin shall be gathered out of his kingdom. What's going to happen? And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. Also, the sinner is going to be cast into the fire. Your Easter, your Christmas, baby day, dog day, cat day, bird day, rock day, tree day, book day, groundhog day, mole day, deer day, star day, any day that this man, this evil and wicked man, has convinced our people to keep. This man right here. And these black pastors, they agree. And shall cast them into a furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. Then shall the righteous, the law keepers, shine. Just like Daniel said, shine. As Daniel said they would shine in Daniel 12 and 3, Christ repeats it. Then shall the righteous are the law keepers, shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who hath ears to hear, let him hear. The sinners are not going to shine forth in the kingdom. The law keepers. And see, brothers and sisters, this is what we know. Peter mentioned this. 1 Peter. 1 Peter 4. Verse 17. For the time has come that judgment must begin at the house of God, Israel. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of God? And if the righteous scarcely be saved, pow. We know the righteous are going to be saved. It keeps saying it. Where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? Well, it's easy. The lake of fire. So when these Christians are keeping their days, when they're keeping their days, Easter, Christmas, Sunday, Baby Day, Dog Day, you can look forward to that. So here's what we know. We know that law keepers are going to get into the book, and Israel. Well, let me say it like this. The book of life was meant for Israel only. And the law keepers of Israel are going to be in that book. The sinners of Israel and the other nations are not. Now, I want to go to Daniel to prove my point more. Let's go to the book of Daniel. Back to Daniel. Chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. Verse 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, and the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment was white as snow, and the hair of his head like the pure wool. And his throne was like the fiery flame, and his wheels as burning fire, whose hair was like the pure wool. But that's not it, though. Watch this. Verse 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. When the Bible says the judgment was set, that's that. And the books were open. He mentions those very same books. Now, when it says judgment was set, let's go back to Psalms. Set, when the judgment is set, that's the judgment. You can't change it. Psalms 122, verse 1. A song of degrees of David. I was glad when they said unto me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Our feet shall stand within our feet shall stand within thy gates, O Jerusalem. Jerusalem is builded as a city that is compacted together. Whether the tribes go up, the tribes of the Lord, unto the testimony of Israel, to give thanks unto the name of the Lord. For there are set thrones of judgment, the thrones of the house of David. There are set thrones of judgment, set thrones. Set thrones. So this judgment that is set when the books were open, let's go and look. Let's go and look at Revelation. We're getting ready to do our series in Revelation, brothers and sisters. Be patient with us because there's a lot of parables in Revelation. Let's go back up. Should I start in verse 1? Yeah, let's start in verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is the devil, and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Now, the dragon. Now, brothers and sisters, this is the same dragon that is mentioned in Revelation 12, verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. Now, remember, when we go back and we take a look at, we'll go to Ezekiel. I wanted to see, John calls it a dragon, but we don't think of it as a power. Like, it has to be in another place where we can understand the parables. That's why it's good to go to precepts and witnesses to better do that. Son of man, set thy face against Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and prophesy against him and against all Egypt. Speak and say, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I am against thee, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, the great dragon. See, a power. A nation was called a great dragon. That lieth in the midst of the rivers. This dragon lies in the midst of the rivers, the waters of people, which has said, my river is mine own, and I have made it for myself. See, this parable, we can see that Pharaoh was the great dragon, a power. So going right back to Genesis 25. Going right back to Genesis 25. Verse 24, getting to the point. And when her days to be fulfilled were delivered, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. But when you go back up to verse 23, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, 2 manner. Different people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. So right away we see 2 nations. 2 nations means, this is Genesis now, the beginning. This prophecy of 2 nations, you have one and you have the other. And the first came out red all over, like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. So when you think of this, and you go back up to Revelation 12. Let's go to Revelation 12 and verse 3. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon. Isn't it interesting, brothers and sisters? Now this great dragon is red. Interesting now that this dragon is red. Great red dragon. See, he used to look like this. This great red dragon. Funny, you know, this, the Bible, John puts it right to you. Accept it or not, we don't care. But we know that this dragon is red, having 7 heads and 10 horns. 7 heads is 7 ruling periods, and 10 markets, and 7 crowns upon his head. So the great red dragon can be none other than Esau. Now, let's go back to Revelation 20, because I'm going to show you this. Revelation 20 Verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, same red dragon. It didn't change. The red dragon, the old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. The red dragon, let's read it again. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. I'm going to read it again. I brought this picture up. This is a picture from the Varney and Dura Europus. And as you can see, brothers and sisters, if you look at the head of the angel, it's dark. But when you look at the legs, they started to whitewash it. But I want you to notice the people that this angel bounds with chains. What do they look like? Who do they look like? Excuse me. And I saw an angel come down from heaven having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand, and laid hold on the dragon. Do you see the color of the dragon here? We told you he was red. Those people that have the chain on them, according to this old picture that they tried to whitewash, is Esau, the so-called Caucasian. I downloaded this picture as soon as I seen it. And lay hold on the dragon, the old serpent, which is called the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. This is who they're talking about. And, you know, most of these people, brothers and sisters, these people already but if they can throw a cloud of dust up, they will. Let's go back to the Bible. And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he, down at the bottom, should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loosed for a little season. Watch this. Let's go back to the Bible. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. See, I saw thrones. I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. Who was judgment given to? Let's go back to the book of Daniel. Daniel tells us who judgment was given to. Daniel chapter 7. Daniel chapter 7. And I want to read verse 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. So judgment was given to the saints. 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 Psalms 148:14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel. Even means indeed of the children of Israel. A people near unto him, praise ye the Lord. So the saints were the children of Israel. Psalms 149:1, praise ye the Lord, sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of the saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful unto their king. Again, Israel are the saints. There's no, brothers and sisters, the saints are not anybody that believe in Jesus or any believer. The saints are a people. They were always a people. Israelites, by proof. That's who the saints were. No way we can get that confused. The saints. Psalms 50. Psalms 50, verse 5. Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The only ones that made a covenant with God by sacrifice is Israel. The only one. Let's go back to Daniel. Book of Daniel, once again, chapter 7, and verse 22. Wait a minute, let's go up to 21. And I beheld at the same horn made war with the saints, that's the children of Israel, and prevailed against them. They prevailed against the true saints of the Most High. They prevailed against the true saints of the Most High. These people did. Now, when we go back up, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Not all nations possessed the kingdom. Israel was the only nation that would possess the kingdom, according to Daniel. You're reading these verses. They skip these. Pay attention. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out. He now, I'm showing you who he is, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High God, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time. I want you to pay attention now. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion. Who is the they? The saints. To consume and to destroy it until the end. See, verse 27. And the kingdom and dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High, whose kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all dominions shall serve and obey him. You see, the saints is who the kingdom is going to go to. The saints. Hitherto is the end of the matter. That's it. The angel told Daniel the end of the matter is that the saints are going to get the kingdom. That is the judgment set. That's why, once again, when you read it, but the judgments shall sit. God's judgment shall sit. Whatever this is going to happen. That's why, when we go back to Daniel 7 verse, let's go back up. Daniel 7 and 10. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him, and 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set, and the books were open. So these books that were open were judgment. Here's where our people are either going to be in this book or not in the book. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. Which the horn spake. The horn spake. The horn spake. I beheld even to the beast was slain, and his body destroyed, and given to the burning flame. The beast is what? What is a beast? Let's drop down to verse 23. I want you to see this. What is a beast? Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom. Upon the earth. So a beast is a kingdom. A beast is a kingdom. I want y'all to pay attention. A beast is a kingdom. That's why we define it. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which, excuse me, let me read this over again. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed. The beast was a kingdom, and his body were the people. Give it to the burning flame. Burning flame. Burning flame. Let's Malachi 4, verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And that day that cometh shall burn them up, and the Lord of hosts, and it shall leave them neither root nor branch. See, this is that fire that's coming. This is that fire. This is that flame. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all them that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts. It shall leave them neither root nor branch. You know why? Psalms 112. Notice the wicked, the sinner, they that sin. We keep telling you, brothers and sisters, if you're transgressing the law, I would stop. Can't listen to these preachers. Let's go to verse 9. Psalms 112 and 9. He hath dispersed, he hath given to the poor. His righteousness endureth forever. His horn shall be exalted with honor. The wicked, which is the sinner, shall see it and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth and melt away. This is what melt means. If you ever, brothers and sisters, if you ever saw Terminator 2, I think it's 1 or 2, where the nuclear bomb hits, and it hits that Sarah O'Connor, whatever her name is, and she holds on to that fence, and that fire burns her up, and she melts away. That's what it's talking about. That's the melting. These people know. These brothers and sisters, people make movies because they understand how the process is going to go. These people do that. They make these movies because they know how it's going to go. The wicked shall see it and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth and melt away. The desire of the wicked, which is the sinner, the sinner, those that break God's laws. Remember, coming back. Psalms 119, verse 53. Horror has taken hold upon me because of the wicked. Horror has taken hold upon me because of the wicked that forsake thy law. Also, the wicked forsake the law. The wicked, the lawbreakers, those that forsake the law, the wicked shall see it and be grieved. He shall gnash with his teeth and melt away. The desire of the wicked shall perish. The wicked are going to melt away. From what? Fire. They're going to be burned. The sinner. Over and over, this says this. Easily, brothers and sisters, we could tear the house of cards, which is so-called Christianity, down. This is why there is no live debates across television, YouTubes. They're not going to do it. When it comes down to death, they're going to stay far away from it as they can, because they want you to think, oh, it's at the cross, you're going to be saved, you don't have to worry. No, that's a lie. Back to Daniel 7. Daniel 7. Verse 11. I beheld then because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake. I beheld even till the beast was slain and his body destroyed. His people were destroyed and given to the burning flame. So someone's going to be burned up. And of course, the judgment, you see who it is. Our forefathers knew. Let's go. As concerning the rest of the beasts, they had their dominion taken away, yet their lives were prolonged for a season and a time. The rest of the beasts is the rest of the kingdoms. They lived a little while longer. That's why it says for a time and a season, because eventually, we already know according to Jeremiah. See, these prophets saw this, and this damage control Edom does. Let's go to Jeremiah 30:11. For I am with thee, saith the Lord, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations, whether I have scattered thee, I will not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Eventually, God is going to make a full end of all nations. There's no more power for all nations. All are going to be in subjection under Christ, or off with your head. This is why we show Christ in the true form, war. They want you to see this, see the Caucasians, the Edomites, Revelation 19:11, he's going to judge and make war. See, if they look at this, they're going to be in fear. They would fear. But in order for them to keep the people from fearing God, Revelation 20. Revelation 20. And 12. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were open. And another book was open, which is the book of life. And the dead were judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. Watch this. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged, every man according to his works. The book or the works? The book or the works? Pay attention. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. Remember, this is the judgment. Death and hell. What do you mean, death and hell? Let's go to, because I want you to see this, brothers and sisters, how it works. It says death and hell. The book of Habakkuk. Verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. It's talking about the Bible. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Behold, his soul, which is lifted up, is not upright in him. But the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine. He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. See, he is a proud man. A proud man. Neither keepeth at home. Yes, he goes around colonizing his forefathers. Colonizers. Who enlarges his desire as hell. Let's go back. Who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So someone causes death and hell. Someone causes, because you just can't throw death and hell into the lake of fire. Someone is causing death and hell. Revelation 6. Revelation chapter 6. Real quick. Revelation 6 and 7. And when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the fourth beast say, come and see, the fourth angel. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was death and hell. Was death, excuse me. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was death. And hell followed after, or hell followed with him. So death and hell, here it is again. And power was given unto them. So there is a them The them was called death, and hell followed them. Who was the them that was given power over the fourth part of the earth? You guys have to see this. I'm going to read it over. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. So here's death and hell. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth, to kill with a sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beasts, which are the kingdoms of the earth. Who was given power over the fourth part of the earth? It's obvious. It's obvious. You're looking at him. His military force. There's no one else. So when we go back to Revelation, chapter 20. Revelation 20, verse 14. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. The death and hell that was cast into the lake of fire was Esau. Because he caused the death and hell among the nations. And he was cast into the lake of fire. After he was released now from prison, he was cast into the lake of fire. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. Well, again, who was that book of life for? The Israelites. No other nation, brothers and sisters, was in the book of life except Israel. No other nation. Wasn't there. That's why Paul understood it. Philippians 4, verse 3. And I entreat thee also, true yoke fellow, help those women which labored with me in the gospel. The women were laboring. Not much like today's women. They're not laboring like they were back then. With Clement also, and with other my fellow laborers, whose names are in the book of life. See, Paul understood the book of life. There was a book of life whose names or works are in the book of life. And since we know Exodus, I'm going to do this one more time, and then we can. Exodus 32. Exodus 32. Verse 32. Yet now, if thou wilt forgive their sin, and if not, blot me, I pray thee, out of thy book which thou hast written. And the Lord said unto Moses, whosoever has sinned against me, him will I blot out of my book. This book. Let's go. Deuteronomy chapter 29. Verse 20. I want you to pay attention to what God says. Well, let's look at this. 19. And it shall come to pass, when he heareth the words of this curse, that he bless himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I walk in the imagination of my heart. See, these people think that they're going to have peace, even though they walk in the imagination of their hearts. They think so, these Sunday Christians, saying, I shall have peace though I walk in the imagination of mine heart, to add drunkenness to thirst. The Lord will not spare him, but then the anger of the Lord and his jealousy shall smoke against that man, and all the curses that are written in this book shall lie upon him, and the Lord shall blot his name from under heaven. When he says blot his name from under heaven, blot it out of the book. The book was for Israel. The book of life isn't for all nations. It's for Israel. Ezekiel 13:9, more proof. Ezekiel, let's read Ezekiel. See, it's all over the Bible, but the Christians, we're going to avoid it because they may figure this out, that all nations are not in the book. I want you to pay attention. Ezekiel 13:8, therefore thus saith the Lord God, because ye have spoken vanity, which is sin. Proverbs 22:8, and seen lies, therefore behold, I am against you, saith the Lord God. And mine hand shall be upon the prophets that see vanity, and that divine lies. They shall not be in the assembly of my people, neither shall they be written in the writings of the house of Israel. Neither shall they enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord God. When it says they shall not be written in the writings of the house of Israel, that's the book of life again. The false prophet, the sinful prophets of Israel, they're not going to be in the book. Over and over, there are many scriptures that talk about the book of life. Many. That's why in Isaiah, it takes the cake here. Isaiah 4:3. Isaiah 4 and verse 3 again. And it shall come to pass that he that is left in Zion, and he that remaineth in Jerusalem, shall be called holy, even every one that is written among the living in Jerusalem. Written among the living. Book of life. When the Lord shall have washed away the filth of the daughters of Zion, and shall have purged the blood of Jerusalem from the midst thereof by the spirit of judgment and by the spirit of burning. He's going to cleanse them a certain type of way. Daniel 12:1. We're showing you, brothers and sisters, when it talks about the book of life, there's no other nation in it but Israelites. It never, you can't change it. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people, Daniel's people, is Israel, Daniel 9:20, shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Thy people, the only ones that are in this book, are Israelites, if they keep the law. If they break it, they're like the rest, death, fire. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, because they're in the book. Some to everlasting life, that's in the book, and some to shame and everlasting contempt, that are not in the book. Christ said the same thing in John 5:29. Or do you think Christ said in Luke chapter 10, verse 20, notwithstanding in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice because your names are written in heaven, the book of life. Over and over. But the book of life is for Israelites, not all nations. All nations have no chance to get in this book. It was only meant for Israel. That's Hebrews 12. Hebrews 12. Verse 23. To the general assembly of the church of the firstborn, which are written in heaven, to God the judge of all, and to spirits of just men, law-keeping men made perfect. The church of the firstborn. Who was the firstborn? Exodus. See, if brothers and sisters, if you're not reading the Old Testament, you can't. It's not going to happen. Exodus chapter 4, verse 22. And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, thus saith the Lord, Israel is my son, even my firstborn. Firstborn. Hebrews 12:23 again. To the general assembly of the church of the firstborn, Israel, which are written in heaven, and to God, the judge of all, and to spirits of just men made perfect. Once again, brothers and sisters, the book of life is only for Israel. It wasn't for all nations. It was only for Israel. And if you, my friends, are in sin, you will not be in the book. You will be blotted out. And that's what this is about. The Lamb's Book of Life. All praises to the Most High, brothers and sisters. I am your host, the Apostle Reuben of IUPR Bible Radio, podcasting out of Little Rock, Arkansas. We hope to see you, brothers and sisters, next week as we go back over the chapters and verses. Until next time, brothers and sisters, I have to go. All praises.